This evening program features teachers from both the elementary and the secondary school. First, I'd like to remember the founding parents of the school from the Richland Park Seventh-day Adventist Church, without which we would not be here today. This evening, we'll have interviews with Sister Fernella Campbell, who turned 90 years recently. Her husband, Charles Campbell, is not with us, and we posthumously honor his work and dedication. Tonight, Denston Backus would be introducing Fernella, and we'll have reflections from former students and her son, Pastor Rick Backus, Mr. Clifford Sutherland, Mr. Lionel Williams, and Dr. Cedric Campbell. We shall also hear from Mrs. Ermin Lewis, Pastor Ruel Backus, Mrs. Rubina Lewis, and in the future, we will be featuring some more of our teachers. We'll be favored with music from Nicolene Elam and Dr. Raphael Lewis. We will have an update from Mr. Fillmore Isaacs regarding the elementary school. Sylvina Backus, who is on our advisory committee, will favor us with a poem. Our MC this evening is Raymond Kidd, Mr. Raymond Kidd. And I'd like to welcome in a special way Javon, Jack, and Tarek Lewis as our technical support team, who works in conjunction with Lenroy Thomas. I guess without Lenroy, this machine wouldn't run. Our devotion and prayer this evening would be given by Dr. Al Backus, author of his new book, Love, Wellness, and Happiness. Al, turn it over to you.
Thanks, Gibbs. And I have a short devotional. Two passages of scripture came to mind when I was asked to prepare devotional for today. And they are Exodus 14:14. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. And Nehemiah 4:20. Whenever you hear the sound of the trumpet, rally to us there. Our God will fight for you. Three short points on these two texts. One is, when we face major obstacles, let's never forget, God will fight for us. If the Red Sea is in front and Pharaoh's army behind, we can be calm. God will fight for us. If we are building and there are threats from enemies, we can have a sword in one hand and a trowel in the other hand and continue building. The application to what we are doing right now is we are engaged in supporting a major building project in Richland Park, St. Vincent, in honor of the educational program that laid the foundation for each of us on the program here. Our first major hurdle is $100,000 to reach the point of groundbreaking. As we face this hurdle, we can approach it with joyful, calm anticipation of what God will do, because God will fight for us. Let's pray. Father in heaven, thank you for the blessings of this life. Thank you for your leading in each life here. Thank you for the pioneers who established an educational program in Richland Park and the other schools in St. Vincent. Thank you for your protection and for those who are facing major challenges and obstacles from the weather, from political and other forces, from health challenges, and loss of loved ones, we take comfort in knowing that you are our strength and you will always fight for us. And we thank you for that in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Al. We are very happy this afternoon to have a live rendition of our national anthem. And we invite our dear sister, Nicolene Elam, to sing for us at this time.
Saint Vincent land so beautiful, with joyful hearts we pledge to thee our loyalty and love and vow to keep you ever free. Whatever future brings, our faith will see us through. May peace reign from shore to shore, and God bless and keep us true.
Appreciate that very much. Thank you so much for bringing back such good memories to us of St. Vincent. Of course, we know there are a couple additional stanzas there, but we will appreciate what Nicolene did for us with this first item. The program is, a lot of the program is has been pre-recorded. So at this time, we will move forward with the items as listed there. We have our first item will be an introduction to Sister Fenella Campbell, which is one of the principals we are honoring this program. So Denniston Backus will bring that.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, it's my privilege and pleasure to introduce Sister Campbell, Fenella Campbell. I met her over 40 years ago when I came to St. Croix, and I came to a strange country that I didn't know anyone. And she was a welcome face here in St. Croix. And over the years, we have got along very nicely. Brother Campbell is a dear friend, especially to my wife, Audrey. She would go and confide in him in so many times. And always remember her home, her welcoming home. Almost every Thanksgiving, she would have her get together and we'll be there. She has been a wonderful lady to the community in our church. In her age now, she's not the same person. She's a little older now and she's not as connected as she used to be, but praise God for her. And we wanted to have her here live today, but she went shopping today and a bit tired, a bit stressed out, so she's not here. So Sister Campbell has been a wonderful lady in St. Vincent, the wife of our dear brother, our dear principal, Brother Charles Campbell. And she has been a strong person here in St. Croix. They came to work at the St. Croix Seventh-day Adventist School over 50 years ago, did a job there, and then they turned over and worked with the government and gave service as a history teacher, Sister Campbell, and then Brother Charles Campbell as a guidance counselor. So Sister Campbell is on now, and may we appreciate the work that they have done. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here with a very dear friend, mentor, and a former elementary and secondary school teacher. Her name is Sister Fenella Campbell. We met over 60 years ago in St. Vincent. We're both now living in St. Croix, and she has been a very dear friend to myself and family. And we want to talk a little bit about life before coming to St. Vincent and life in St. Vincent and her wonderful contributions to the young people in St. Vincent. So Sister Campbell, please tell us a bit about your background, you, Brother Campbell. I may dare say that Brother Campbell is deceased for a few years now, so we'll speak to that.
Okay, well, of course, my married name is Campbell, but my name, I was Simon. I used to be Fernella Simon, okay? I was born in St. John's, Antigua, and I went to elementary school in Point School, Antigua. And then when I was in my middle teens, we became Seventh-day Adventists. And so I went to CUC in Trinidad, Caribbean Union. It used to be Caribbean Union. It wasn't college. Now it's Caribbean Union College.
Yes.
And I went there, and I spent 3 years there, and I took the overseas exam.
Senior Cambridge.
The senior Cambridge, yes. And even before the results came out, I went back home to Antigua, and I spent about 4 years there in Antigua. I taught in Antigua in 2 schools, one in Barbuda. Barbuda is an island off Antigua. And then I taught in another school called New Winthrops. And from there, I got married. And after we got married, we went to St. Vincent. And we spent 4 years in St. Vincent. Well, that was very interesting.
Tell us a little bit about Brother Campbell. He's deceased
Okay.
now. Tell us some about Brother
Okay,
Campbell
well,
and where's he
Charles-
from and
Charles Campbell, I met in CUC. I can remember the first night when I went to CUC, all the students are, how you'd say, placed in some area to work, and I was placed to wash dishes. And so I was there in the kitchen washing dishes, and then this young man came to the window and he started to talk, and we talked, and that was it. And a few months later, Princess Margaret came to Antigua. Sorry, came to Trinidad. As a matter of fact, she visited all the islands, and so the school allowed us to go to a place called Curragh, and so we went, and Charles and we came back together, and that was the first time that we really, had any kind of big conversation. But then, after I finished it, I spent 3 years in Trinidad, and then I went back home to Antigua, and I was there in Antigua until I got married. And we got married in Antigua, and 2 weeks later we were off to St. Vincent, because Charles told me when he went, he always worked with the Adventists, but not me. I worked with the government, and he said when he went to pick up his check, that they asked him, they heard he going to get married, and they told him that when he comes back, they want to send him to St. Vincent. And so that's how it come, because in St. Vincent, they had a little problem with the principal of the school there, and he abruptly left the school and came back to Trinidad. So that's how they had the vacancy, and they sent us there, because it was a big problem.
it was a blessing
It was a blessing.
to come fresh and with confidence that God brought you to St. Vincent to make a bad situation better. And from what I
But
heard,
yeah, I'm sorry.
things move fast forward when you got
It-
there.
It did, but the thing about it, it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
And what my husband, Brother Campbell, did, he decided, it was a secondary school,
Yes.
because there was an elementary school there already for years.
Yes.
There was an Adventist elementary school there, so they were now starting a secondary school.
So when you came to St. Vincent, the school was at Mesopotamia Valley in Perseverance.
This,
up on the
no,
hill.
no, no. The school,
The secondary.
Okay, when we came there, yes, when we came there first, we stayed in what the capital of?
Kingston.
Kingston. We stayed with the Hitlers.
Yes, that's Hitler.
And then we came up to, they were holding the school in, where this man has a house on the hill.
Yes, yes.
What do they call it?
Leighton.
Leighton, yes. But because we didn't have any place to live, they rented, I think a lodge, that's what they
Yes,
call
yes,
it.
exactly.
And there's where we had the school, and they put us to live in the place where the school was,
Okay.
on top of the
Yes,
hill.
on top of the hill. Then the school moved from
But the
Mr.
school-
Valley to Richland Park,
Yes, the
downstairs of the,
Yes, the
the
school
church.
moved after a while and came up to Richland Park. And so we walked a lot. Because no, we moved to Richland Park first and lived up there, so we started to walk from Richland Park and come to
now what I
Mesopotamia.
remember, you used to live in a house for Miss Goddard.
We lived there.
Not too far from the school, but you had to walk to the elementary school.
We had,
In the old church.
we had to walk to, is the secondary section.
Yes, yes.
The elementary section was
In the old
Richland
church.
Park. Yes, in the
Yes.
old church,
Yes,
downstairs.
yes.
And this lady, she left her house, but she only rented us 2 rooms. She had her stuff in, I think, I think it was, let's see, it was 2 bedrooms and a living room and a kitchen. So she kept one of the bedrooms and she rented us the living room, the kitchen, and the living room, the kitchen, and one of the bedrooms.
Yeah, let me ask now.
Uh-huh.
So you came in that situation in the secondary school.
Yeah.
How did you guys manage to move that school from that early beginning, and in 2 or 3 years' time, you sent 4 students to do the Senior Cambridge?
No,
and
before
then
the Senior Cambridge,
Yes, yes.
they did the school, they did the teacher's exam.
Yes.
After we got things together, we had to go to every home in Richland Park. And I think your father and some other person came with us and introduced us and said, well, we are a married couple and we are qualified to run the school, although God is good. We had only had Senior Cambridge in that.
Just Senior Cambridge.
Just Senior Cambridge.
Okay.
That is one of the reasons we left after 4 years, because my husband felt, we are teaching Senior Cambridge, and we only have Senior Cambridge, but the British educate you well.
So you're saying now that you came there with only Senior Cambridge,
With only Senior Cambridge.
and then
not
you're
about
teaching these young guys
Senior Cambridge.
towards the Senior Cambridge exam also.
And by the way, first of all, because of how things were, and my husband wanted people to get some kind of feel good about the school. They used to have a teacher's exam, and he sent up the 4 students who were in the secondary section. He sent them to take the teacher's exam.
First.
Okay? To sort of give the people a little confidence.
Yeah.
So,
So there was Clifford, Renwick,
Clifford,
Sinclair, and Lionel.
yes,
These are the first 4.
those were, it's after 2 years, they take these teachers exam, and 2 more years, then they go and take the Senior Cambridge, which the exam comes from England. And it's a very hard exam. The exam comes from England. The people who, what they call it, invigilators,
Yes.
and they're the ones who hand out the exam. They're the ones who take out the exam, and the exam goes back to England. And it's in England that the exams are marked, and then they send out the result to the different islands.
After that 4 people passed, then you had the second set, which was Alban.
Alban, and
who took it by himself, and he passed with a first class honors.
First grade.
And then
Yeah.
after that, you guys left St.
We
Vincent.
left in Vincent.
Yes,
And
and
that
then-
was 4 years.
Yes,
Mm,
yes. Then later on came Gideon, Whitford, and several others
Yes.
after that.
Mhm.
Now, then I may inform you from my own experience. When you guys left, you left the school in high regard.
We did,
We-
as a matter of fact, after all 4 students passed the senior Cambridge, let me tell you something. The people came from, they hired bus, and everybody came up, because actually, the church in St. Vincent, the town, they
Yes, ma'am.
wanted to bring the school now, because now the school has a reputation. All these children gone up and they passed the senior Cambridge exam, and I mean this is an exam that is given to all the British
Commonwealth countries.
countries around the world. Because I can always remember when I took it, that one of the things that, I mean, if you see how I write, nobody can, understand how I write. And the thing about it is, it's just these people in England, because everybody used to criticize me about my writing. And the thing about it, in England they said, it is because of how I think. I
Okay.
think very fast, and that is why I write like
Very
how I
fast,
think.
yes.
Yes.
So let me tell you, Sister Campbell,
Mhm.
when you guys left now,
Yes.
St. Vincent,
Mhm.
the fact that the school did so well
Yes.
and had such a great reputation,
Mhm.
there's an impact it had on the students who were there coming up, including myself.
Mhm.
That when we saw that those 4 students and the 5th student and the others, Gideon, Alban, and those Whitford and those who went before me.
By the way, the first set of students, I think there's 4 of them,
Yes.
they all went to CUC.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
So with that repetition now, it gave the students coming up behind that confidence that if they can make it, we can make it.
The school is
But
still
through
at
God's guidance,
Mhm.
your brother Campbell came and did a wonderful work with the school
Yeah, we spent
and
4
provided
years.
an opportunity for so many of us to be successful in later years. And up to today, the school is very vibrant. It's called Mountain View Adventist Academy. And many students have gone to the school. And it was my privilege to go back at 4 years, 90 to 94, to be principal of the school. And I counted a privilege to have gone back to the school. And your name, Fenella Campbell and Charles Campbell, is etched in Richland Park in the memories of so many of the folks that you put the school on the foundation that it is today. And praise and thanks go back to God and your hard work, Brother Campbell's hard work. Brother Campbell is deceased now for a few years now, and I thank God for him. I first came to the school when I did from class standard 5. He asked me to come and do the entrance examination. I'm sure I didn't do too well. I don't know how I did, and my mom asked him how I did. He said, send the boy to secondary school, send the boy to secondary school. He has always been that type of person, very loving, very giving, and very humble, and really in the attitude of helping. He's the one who wants to help, and he's a constant in that regards. So we are appreciative of him, in good memory of him, and we are thankful that he came to St. Vincent and provided that opportunity. So after St. Vincent, you guys went to?
After St. Vincent, we went back home to Antigua.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm from Antigua, he's
Yes.
from Tobago. We went to Antigua, and then he applied to AUC.
Yes.
All right, but he also applied to this school in Minnesota, and he heard from Minnesota before, and so he went to Minnesota.
Yes.
But then after a few months, I joined him in Minnesota. Oh, I love Minnesota. But when he finished, it was just a year. After we were finished, I wanted to stay in Minnesota because I love Minnesota, but he didn't want to stay. He said they had already accepted him in AUC, so he said we're going to AUC. So he went. Charles was going to school, and I was working. And after 2 years, I went to school too. So both of us were there. While he was a junior, I was a freshman. And then he graduated after 4 years, and then I continued. And he got a job.
So
And-
then later you came to St. Croix.
Oh, no. We spent a good while in
AUC. In Massachusetts.
in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
That's how they called Charles to come here.
Yes, yes. So thank God for the contribution to Christian education in St. Vincent, in St. Croix. We are pleased to know that you did the Lord's work and that He has kept you. And
But even though that we were in government school, we became very involved with the church.
Yes. Yes.
Because Charles was a deacon, not a deacon, an elder in the church, and then I was the superintendent, head superintendent.
So what I'm asking you now, what do you have to say to all those students that you taught in St. Vincent who were successful? Could you give them a word now of what would you like to say to them?
Well, as a matter of fact, I did meet Lionel in the States, you know. And as a matter of fact, this person I went to sit by, it was Lionel. And then the minister was also a student that I taught in Central High. And so, as I told the folks in the class, I say, you know, these two people were my students. One was the beginning of my career as a teacher, and because that was Lionel.
Yes.
And one was at the end of my career as a teacher, and that was the pastor of the church.
So let me ask you now, you have an important milestone birthday coming up. Are you really care to tell the folks?
Yes,
What
I
that birthday is?
don't care. All right. July 22nd, I'll be 90 years old.
90. The big 90. And you're looking so young? What? God's blessing is upon you still.
Yes.
We appreciate what you have done for us in St. Vincent and here in St. Croix. May God bless you. Okay.
Thank you very much, Denson, for really guiding that interview and keeping on track. I don't know if you guys can see the excitement in Sister Campbell as she reminisce and reflect on the days in St. Vincent. I could only imagine the excitement in building the school. And here we are again, 75 plus years later, looking at rebuilding, in a sense, what we're doing at Richland Park Elementary, SD Elementary. Some of those students are with us today. We will hear from them. We have Rick Backus, Lionel Williams, Cliff Sutherland, and Dr. Cedric Campbell. Of course, some of these are connected to MVA, and we will hear from them at this time.
Well, in anticipation of this meeting today, a trip down memory lane took me back to the mid-1950s, when I was just a teenage youngster. I had completed elementary school and was left with no prospect on the island of any further Adventist education. Months went by. I wondered what were the prospects of me moving forward in my career of studying. And then it happened. Plans quickly materialized to establish an Adventist high school, at the time without a name, now known as Mountain View Academy. I have been asked to say a few words in honor of a dear elderly lady who once served as a teacher in the early stage of Mountain View Academy and who also was one of my teachers. I speak of no other than Mrs. Fenella Campbell. Mr. Charles Campbell and his wife, Mrs. Fenella Campbell, accepted a call to Richland Park to serve as replacement teachers at this new and fledgling high school venture. This assignment was quite a challenge for the young couple at a crucial time in the school's developmental phase. For you see, this school was the first of its kind in St. Vincent, high school level Adventist education. At the time, the couple served as the school's total teaching team, with Mr. Campbell as the headmaster, administrator, and Mrs. Campbell as the only other teacher on staff. The appointment of the Campbells, as I said before, was a replacement arrangement set in motion by the South Caribbean Conference. Because of the sudden departure of the two pioneer bachelor teachers at first, Mr. Urban Antoine, and later Mr. Stephen Fortune, the future of the school hung precariously in the balance. But upon their arrival, the Campbells set about to rebuild confidence in the future of the school, and they quickly won the support and cooperation of the entire constituency. Mrs. Fenella Campbell was a godly Christian worker for the Lord. In her new post, she assumed and excelled in the role of teacher-instructor of several academic classes. By today's standards, she carried an overload, but she proved herself a hard worker, putting the interest of the students as a priority. Fenella possessed a kind and gentle disposition. Among other things, beside the academics, she taught us many important values and life skills, seeds that in time would germinate to make us grow up and face the world with confidence. How precious, therefore, to her students' own experience is the truth of this saying: what a teacher writes on the blackboard of life can never be erased. Charles and Fenella Campbell both worked hard to prepare the first graduating class for the senior Cambridge High School certificate. And they were both rewarded with the joy of the success of the first 4 candidates who sat for the exam and passed as a prerequisite to graduation from high school. Those who comprised the first graduating class were now Mr. Lionel Williams, I should say Dr. Lionel Williams, Dr. Clifford Sutherland, conferred, Bishop St. Clair Kidd, sadly deceased, and yours truly, pastor and conference administrator, now in retirement. This achievement was a singular academic victory, not just for us and the Campbells, but also for our supportive parents and church family. This achievement was a singular academic victory, and we cherish it to this very day. This accomplishment became an inspirational motivator for Charles and Fenella as they renewed their efforts to prepare other future graduating classes for this event. Both of these faithful teachers have now moved on from the educational scene. Nevertheless, they have left a rich legacy for other teachers and students to follow. From that small beginning, many students have since graduated and gone forth around the world, serving with distinction and making their contribution, ever seeking to make the world a better place. The school continues to thrive, and we praise God for those humble beginnings and the bright future it still holds out for many young people, to prepare them for service in this world, and above all, for a place in the world to come. I am pleased that in this meeting today, we are taking the time to pay tribute to and honor Mrs. Fenella Campbell, and to thank her wholeheartedly for her role and contribution at a pivotal time in the history of the Mountain View Academy. We shall cherish the Campbells as the pioneers of Adventist secondary education for the young people of the Richland Park constituency. We were blessed to have had them as part of our educational experience. Mrs. Campbell, back then, the children you worked so diligently for were largely diamonds in the rough, whom you hoped would someday shine with brilliance and do you proud, and they have done just that. Thank you, dear Mrs. Campbell, for everything you have done for us. We truly appreciate you. The Lord has a special reward in store for you in eternity. Until then, may He continue to bless and keep you in His loving care.
Thank you very much, Rick. Excellent. Thank you very much. We will hear from Cliff at this time.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay. My name is Clifford Sutherland, and it's a pleasure and an honor to be part of this program to honor Sister Campbell. I don't know if she would remember me because I think she came in, I did not attend the elementary school, and she may have come in the latter part of my high school days. But I was one of the 4 students that graduated from the first graduating class in 1961. I remember the day that Pastor Hitler came to our home in Bible and asked my father to send me to Richland Park School. And he told my dad that the folks at the Adventist Church in Richland Park were going to start a secondary school. Now, if you remember, in those days, there were not very many secondary education schools. There was the girls' high school and the boys' grammar school. At that time, I was still in elementary school, and I had not completed elementary school as yet. But my dad took me out of the school, the elementary school, and sent me to the high school in Richland Park. To me, it was a leap of faith on the part of the elders of the Richland Park Church to begin that school. And I'm grateful for the courage that they had to begin such a school. But it was also a leap of faith on the part of Mrs. Campbell and Mr. Campbell and the other teachers who left their homes, wherever they were from, and came to St. Vincent not knowing what they were going to meet. And because of her dedication and efforts, we were able to complete our 4 years of studies. And today I would like to thank Mrs. Campbell and the other teachers for the guidance that they provided for us in those difficult years. The school started out without a building. We had no library, we had no labs, and we moved from place to place. But Mrs. Campbell and the other teachers stuck it out. And for that, we are very thankful. During my 4 years there, I counted the number of times that we moved, and I think we moved 5 times in 4 years. Today, the influence of the school is felt around the world. We have alumni here in the United States, in Canada, in England, in Europe, in the Caribbean, and many other places. And this is because of the dedication of teachers like Mrs. Campbell. The other day I was thinking, you know, when we were going to high school, we never had any labs. We never studied biology. We didn't have any classes in chemistry, biology, physics, or anything like that. But when I think of the graduates and the alumni that came out of MVA, many of us have succeeded as scientists, doctors, nurses, science professionals. And that is because of the teachers like Mrs. Campbell, who encouraged us in whatever field of study we would eventually take. And so for all that you did, Mrs. Campbell, we say thank you. And as you enjoy the sunset years of your life, may the Lord continue to bless you and keep you and bless you in all that you do. And we, the students and alumni of MVA, salute you.
Thank you, Cliff. Thank you so much. We will do a video of from Lionel.
Dear Sister Campbell, life can be compared to a bridge. The years like water flowing under that bridge. Much water has passed under the bridge since we were schooled by you and Mr. Campbell at the Perseverance School in Mesopotamia Valley. In fact, so much water has passed by that the memories of those days have become blurred. In our quiet time, we recall with the nostalgia of youth, your voice helping us to understand how to write and to reason and to express in order to reproduce reasoned ideas for the examinations that we were to face. I wish I could recall specific instances that would enliven these greetings, but those years were so consumed by the pressures of having to prepare for external exams that the joys of youth were often overlooked. In any case, it is with privilege and a pleasure to send greetings as you are recognized by former students at Richland Park Secondary School. We trust that those years were a blessing to you also, for it has meant so much to us as we have gone about getting life in our life a profession. We wish you God's continued protection and care, with the hope of meeting you and Mr. Campbell in the earth made new. God bless you as you reflect with past students of those days that you spent with us at the Richland Park School. Thank you for everything that you've done.
Thank you, Lionel Williams. At this time, Dr. Cedric Campbell will hear from him.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone for their kind words towards my mom and dad. And I congratulate you, the graduates of this school, for you have taken the opportunity that was afforded you, and you've run with the ball, and you've done well with your lives. And as I just listened to everyone speak, I'm like, wow, these excellent speakers, very excellent speakers. I can tell that everyone here has been well educated. So this school has served its purpose. Everyone here is a testament to that the school has served its purpose. And I just met Al this week, and his daughter's at UVA, which is a fine institution. I'm not saying that just because my daughter is there also, but and so the legacy goes on. And I have to say the most enduring legacy of my father, and I'm hopefully I won't get emotional, has been his work in St. Vincent. He has spoken to me about his work in St. Vincent with immense pride. He's very proud about that. I want to say that's where I think he started gardening. And Denny, you can correct me if I'm wrong. My dad is a very avid gardener. He would plant cassava, sorrel. The sorrel came in December. There's always a terrible time when I had to help. You take the buds off of the plant. Oh, I hated that. But so what I'm trying to say is, as you go forward with the school, my wife told me not to speak too much because sometimes I can be long-winded. As you go forward, just like gardening and planting, you have to look at the seasons, and you have to make adjustments for the seasons. You have to deal with the seeds that you've planted differently, and different seeds have to be dealt with differently. So as you meet various challenges with this institution, just remember that. Make the adjustments that you need. And I'm happy that the school is growing and that you have a vision for the school. That's you have this blessed trust, and you're being very responsible with that. You're making an effort to grow it. And I'm hoping I can be a part of that in some kind of way to help you grow this institution. And again, just listening to you, being a part of this program, I feel so good, so emotional, because I can see that the seed that they planted has come to fruition, and it's growing. And then those seeds are growing up and they are producing trees, and those trees are bearing fruit. And from those fruit, more seeds are growing. So this is just wonderful. And just continue doing God's work and just love each other. And I can tell that too, just listening to you. I can tell everyone here just loves each other. Just love each other wastefully. Just love each other and encourage each other. And I'm sure everything, the plans that you have will come to fruition by God's will. And again, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. And here's my wife, and I don't know if you can see her.
Congratulations.
And then again, nice to see you, Denson. I just saw him in March. He's been helping me so much with my mom, as he mentioned, kind of alluded to earlier. As she gets older, there are little changes, and that's part of the aging process. But Body's very strong. Body's very strong, and she's a very, very stubborn person. And someone once told me the stubbornness that she had to push you through school and to encourage you and to make you want to go forward and get more education and keep studying. That same stubbornness sometimes is can be a little difficult to deal with. But anyway, again, I'm just happy to be a part of this, and my dad and my mom's legacy, and they gave me a legacy of studying. I just love school. My father got frustrated with me, told me as a career student. He's like, you got to finish something. So he was very happy when I eventually finished medical school. But even with that, I did 2 residencies. So one wasn't enough for me. I went back and did another residency. I just could never get enough education. But anyway, with that, I'll stop.
All right, thank you so much, Cedric. We appreciate you coming on and speaking on behalf of your folks. My older brother was part of that class, deceased, but I'm sure he would have had a good report also to bring about your mom and dad. But we glad to meet you. Very nice to meet you. We're going to make a shift a little bit now, as we focus in this first segment on MVA. And of course, part of what we're doing in this group is to promote and advertise and solicit the help of people who come to our program as we build the elementary version of the school, currently set into action. Have outgrown their current space. And so we're going to shift now and look at some of our former principals there. We have Sister Ermin Lewis and Robina Lewis. And to set us into that direction, we will have a musical piece from Raphael Lewis, son of Ermin Lewis.
In the interest of time, I'm going to be very brief. It's a privilege and an honor to say a few words of introduction to Mrs. Ermin Lewis, affectionately called Auntie Ermin. Auntie Ermin has been in my life since I was 5 years of age. I remembered her very well, teaching at the Marquardt Government School where I was a student, and how lovingly she took care of me as a young boy. She later taught with me at the elementary Seventh-day Adventist school in Richland Park. And she has taught for many years. And I'm sure many of you who are probably on Zoom right now can remember her. She has always been a loving, motherly type of person. Auntie Ermin was married to my uncle, Alfonso, who is deceased. And so we are very, very close in terms of family, but also we in terms of her occupation. I want to let you know that she lives in the Central Florida area, so I see her very often. And she has been an inspiration, source of encouragement, not only to me, but to a lot of the family members in this area. So it's a privilege again to introduce my Auntie Ermin Lewis. Today we are interviewing Tanti Ermin. Tanti is my uncle's wife, and she has been a teacher in the elementary school in Richland Park. And Tanti is going to share a little bit about her life and her occupation as a teacher in the school. Tanti, tell us a little bit about your family, where you were born, a little bit about your children and your husband, and tell us a little bit about your work as a teacher.
I was born on the island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, January 19, 1938. My parents were Nathaniel and Beatrice Bacchus, living at Richland Park on the island. I attended the Marquardt Government School. When I was 15 years old, I passed a school living certificate exam, which was a requirement when you reach the last grade in that particular school. And I was employed as a teacher at age 15 in the said school. I taught for 2 years there, and then I met my husband, Alfonso Lewis, who was also a senior teacher at the same school. We fell in love, and we got engaged, and I got married at a very young age. I was 17 years old when I got married. Then after I got married, I started to have kids. Then my teaching career concluded at that particular time. After I had my kids, I started to study again, and I had passed GC exam, which was an English Cambridge exam, and I passed 3 subjects: English, history, and religious knowledge. From thence, I continued teaching at the Richland Park Elementary Church School from 1966 until 1988. Then I migrated in 1990 to the United States of America. In the elementary school where I taught, I was assigned to 2 classes, kindergarten and 1st grade. I taught there for many, many years. The teachers at that school were Eva Jack, Maureen Bacchus, Mildred Bacchus, Verena Bowman. She was the principal at that time. I continued there for many years, and then after she decided to go to Caribbean Union College in Trinidad, I was the acting principal for 2 years until she returned. Vilna Kidd was also there. She was also an acting principal. And then I continued my teaching career for 22 years, as I said before migrating to USA. There were other principals who were there, but they didn't teach for a long time. It was Laurel Bacchus, Whitford Bacchus, and Dr. Gideon Lewis. The school, we all go to school. We then transferred to one particular house, the neighbor's house. There we stayed for a while, and then the church decided that they needed some more room for us to expand it. And there was an expansion of the church. And after we outgrew Eli Bacchus' house, we returned to the church extension section. They remained for many, many years. During my marriage, I have 5 children, 4 sons and 1 daughter. They are now adults, have children of their own, families, and I'm very proud of them. They were very intelligent kids, and they all receive a very good education, university education. My oldest son, Brinsley Lewis, he lives in Chicago. He's the president of a hospital up there in Chicago. Sad to say, my second son, Dougal Lewis, he was also a doctor, a cardiologist, but he passed away at a very young age. My third son, Raphael Lewis, he is now a dentist living in Beverly Hills, Florida. And my 4th son, Trevor Lewis, he works at a pharmaceutical company in Tampa where he makes drugs. My daughter, Marlene Lewis, she lives in Orlando, Florida, Winter Park, Florida. She's also married and has 1 daughter, which I'm very proud of.
Thank you, Gideon, for taking the time to interview Sister Ermin. Number of us on this Zoom might recognize Ermin Lewis, my teacher also, and many of us will recognize her. We have some reflections at this time, and we will hear from Ruel Bacchus.
Hello, everyone. I realize that for many of us, Adventist education has come full circle. It's been an amazing journey for me with so many blessings along the way. I think of those early years when, as a student, all roads led to the buzzing center of Adventist education, Richland Park, to MVA and to the primary school. On several mornings, Mesper Bridge was the meeting place for many of us before we climb up Walker Hill, led by Simeon Cuffey. I don't know if those of you who might remember Simeon Cuffey, he was into bodybuilding, and he would lead us on the climb up Walker Hill. What was interesting is some guys who had rides all the way to school will get off their transport and join us at the bridge and wait so that we can walk together. I realized that those of you who lived in Richland Park missed out on this exhilarating experience. But we had community, perseverance, the will to succeed, but more so, the desire to serve the Lord and to share the good news of the gospel to all the world. These were no ordinary schools. These were special schools, schools of the prophets, as we would refer to them. I think of the dedicated teachers I had. Charles Campbell, my first principal. In fact, I wrote the entrance exam to MVA in his living room. Then there was Donald Woods, the comedian among the teachers. Sinclair Kidd, tall and stately, his head was above the blackboard. Jeremiah Cox taught music after school. Some of us joined the class. Percival Lewis, who brought such enthusiasm to the school. His saxophone playing, I can remember. Rodro Andrews. I can still hear his laughter. Such a warm, outgoing person. And then there was Miss Denny. And all of us guys were in love with her. And then Al Backus, Dr. Al Backus, was my English teacher. And I recall some red lines in one of my essays that I wrote one time. But I knew he was going to do something great in English. And he has written a beautiful book. I've seen parts of it, haven't read the whole thing. Love, Wellness, and Happiness. Discover your inner warrior, miracle worker, lover, and ruler. And I believe that's a great accomplishment from Al, and we'll talk more about this down the road and hear more about this book. Those were special years for me. I felt a sense of belonging, enjoyed the years at MVA. Seems like I should have been ready to teach after those many years of learning. Well, I was ready, I suppose, already or not. I was teaching at the primary school, 1967 to 1969. Auntie Erman, Audley Charles, 1 year, and Whitford Backus, another year. They were my principals. I was 16 with a mission, and that was to reflect the love of Jesus to all the students while teaching reading, spelling, writing, arithmetic. I remember the elementary school as being very cozy and quaint. You can hear the rhythm of the rain when it's raining, and you can feel the wind whistling through the bamboo siding. And I enjoyed those 2 years at the elementary school. Those were years of learning and growth. When Clifford Backus stepped on 2 nails, I had to grow up fast. I had to take care of all the emergencies and so forth. Teachers are familiar with that. The students were great students. They taught me so much. They forgave me so much because I was just finding my way, trying to teach and trying to do the best job. I think of those years as years of grace, God's grace. And it was enough to stoke the fires of the Spirit in me. For it was in those years, MVA years and teaching years, that the call to pastoral ministry felt clearer and more sure. And so after 2 years at the primary school and 2 years at the Kingston Primary School, I was a student again. And this time at Andrews University, Berrien Springs, Michigan. And then the Seventh-day Adventist Theological Seminary. And now I was a pastor after years of studying there. And I'm mentioning this because Adventist education was central to my ministry, to evangelism, church life. I was blessed with a school in every district that I served in for almost 40 years of service. It was the Montrose Secondary and Elementary School in Grenada. That was my first parish. Then the Champaign Elementary School in Champaign, Illinois, Central Illinois. then the Downers Grove SDA Elementary School in Downers Grove, Illinois, and then the North Shore Adventist Academy in Chicago, Illinois. Helen was a teacher principal at all these schools through the years. And talk about team ministry. It was wonderful to be able to work together in Christian education and pastoral ministry with young people, all different age groups. Just think of all the board meetings, the visits, Bible classes, baptisms, education Sabbaths, building projects, fundraising, prayers, etc. God was good to us. The challenges were great. The possibilities were endless. And now I'm back to where I've started. And so in reclaiming the past, I can rethink it and realize how much it has influenced and shaped my life. I'm grateful, so grateful, to have been a part of this great missionary school and for the opportunity to reconnect. We understand the challenges of church schools, but united in purpose and in prayer and in provision. By that I mean sacrificing your resources. Miracles do happen, and we have experienced that through the years. Last year, we were in St. Vincent, and Helen and I had the opportunity to attend the school's 75th anniversary Sabbath worship service. We witnessed the staff, the students, and the church family praying and praising God together. We were inspired. It was education for eternity. That's what Adventist education is all about. And that's why we remain committed to Adventist education. So we promise to be encouragers, supporters, prayer warriors, and cheerleaders for Adventist education and for the Richland Park Primary School. We are committed in helping and in supporting this project that is ahead before us. May God bless us all as we work together for his kingdom and as we look forward to his soon coming. God bless us.
Thank you, Ruel. That's outstanding. You and Helen are maybe an outstanding representation of what our school in Richland Park did for young people and how it's carried them through the years. And here you are, like you said, coming full circle back to a place where you see the value of what the school has been in your lives, what it's meant, and willing and ready to support this project. We'll hear more about this project. We'll have an interview with Sister Rubina Lewis in a moment. Just before that, we will have a poem by Sister Silverina.
This poem is dedicated to Sister Campbell, Sister Rubina Lewis, Sister Ermine Lewis, and all the past, present, and future teachers out there. I'm a teacher. I make lives. The topic of education came up, and the business executive proclaimed, the problem is with teachers after all, those who can do and those who can't teach. A man next to him said, I'm a teacher, and you don't know what you're talking about. So the businessman leaned into the teacher and said, be honest. What do you make? The teacher's face got red, and he said, I suppose you're thinking about money. I don't own much, but let me tell you what I make. I make children read, think, write, wonder, and talk about important things, such as the world and their role in it. I make them try things they think they can't do, work harder than they want to, and accomplish more than they thought possible. And wherever they do their best, I make them feel proud, capable, and worthy. I made them understand that the quality of their life will be determined by their choices, and I make them take responsibility for their actions. I make them appreciate the importance of integrity and honor in a world that too often shows little regard for others. I make them respect themselves and treat others with respect. I make them feel proud and grateful to live in a world where people are entitled to be treated fairly and with respect, and judged by their accomplishments and character, not by their color, creed, or the size of their bank account. Most of all, I make a difference. I just make them a living. I don't just make them a living, I make lives. And this is dedicated to all the teachers out there. We have tried our best in our lives, and we salute all our wonderful teachers.
Pleasant evening to everyone. My name is Samuel Lynch from the beautiful island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I am presently a teacher at the Richland Park SBA Primary School. And with me this evening is Sister Rubina Lewis. And at this time, I'm gonna give her an opportunity to introduce herself to you all listening and viewing audience.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rubina Lewis. I am a retired principal. I have been a teacher for 44 years. I worked with the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for 20 years. And then I worked with our organization, the SDA system, for 24 years. I am the last of 4 siblings. I have 4 brothers. 3 of them are alive. They're living in Canada. One of them is an Adventist, Mr. Kenrick Johnson, who attends the Kingsview Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Okay, thank you very much there, Sister Lewis. Sister Lewis, as far as I know, you were not always a Seventh-day Adventist. You were not born in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Can you just give us a snapshot into like when you became an Adventist and the influence the church has had on your life throughout the years?
Yes, I have not been always been an Adventist. As a matter of fact, I became an Adventist in 1974. That was after I had been married, you know. We heard the gospel message, my husband and I, and we gave our lives to the Lord, and we were baptized on August the 10th, 1974. Over the years, the church has been has had a tremendous influence on my life, not only spiritually, but also socially. I would say educationally. You know, socially, I was sort of shy, always wanted to be in the background. Even though sometimes now I would like to be in the background, but being in the church, it has given me a different view of life. I am able to speak, you know, publicly. Before, I would not do that. I would shy away. Associating with others, being in the church also gave me that that ability to associate with others as I associate with my brethren. Educationally, it has shown me, I didn't know about Christian education before, but being in the church and learning I get to know what is really true education. Learning from the brethren of the church, the older folks, I was able to understand the prophecies of the Bible, you know, and so I understood all of that. And I think that it's all of that, as a result of that, I'm still in the church today. I would say what I am today, I owe it to God and to my association with the church. I am happy to be a part of the church, to be a part of the family of God, because I want to say that I have grown and developed to what I am today.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. You mentioned earlier, Sister Lois, that you are a retired teacher / principal. And I must say that you were an excellent principal. I've taught most of my teaching years with you as my boss, my supervisor, if I may say, and I've indeed learned a lot from you. Could you just share with us briefly your experience as a principal / teacher?
Well, my experience as a principal of the SDA primary school was I would say, a humbling one. First of all, I was thankful for the opportunity to serve, not only as a principal, but as a teacher in the Adventist system. I am also thankful for the experiences that I gained. I want to believe, and I'm sure that it made me a better person, you know. I learned to be tactful. I learned to sympathize. I learned to listen, you know, because all of those things go into being a principal, a leader. I would say that being a principal, there were times when not times, but I had to rely on the Lord at all times. I had to let the Lord know that, well, he is a great teacher, he's a great leader, you know. So I need him to show me how to lead. I prayed more because I can remember that there were times when I faced situations and you're wondering, I sat there and I wondered, well, how am I going to deal with this situation? And then you would breathe a little prayer and ask the Lord to help you. And then the Lord would answer your prayer because you would find the right words to say, the right decisions to make, you know. So that I had to rely solely on the Lord for that part, okay? But I had great respect. Another thing that I always remember during my tenure as principal, I am grateful for the support that I got from the Board of Management. You know, sometimes as principal, I know of persons who are not really, you are at loggerhead as it were with your superiors. Well, I am thankful to God that I did not have that. I had a very supportive board. The members of the Board of Management were very supportive. And if I can remember, there was one person, and I'm not ashamed to call his name, and I'm sure that he would not, he might not want me to call his name, but I have to pay homage to him. I remember when I just started, and for most of that time, our first elder, I think it was Brother Ronnie Jack. And I remember that I had to call him a lot. And thankfully, he was always there to, you know, to give me a word of advice of what to do and so forth. So I knew that I can count on him, and he was there. So that part of the problem was, you know, because if you had a problem and you had to take it to the board, all you have to do is speak to the first elder first. You got his idea, and then you take it to the board, and you know you're safe. All right. So hats off to Brother Ronnie Jack for always being there to help me out in that area. And thanks very much. I said that before, to the Board of Management for the great support that I had for them. So That made my my teaching experience there great. I had a great time. I love the children. I love the children. Even today, I love those children that I taught. And there was one time, a few years, I had to be the principal and be a teacher. I taught the kindergarten class. And even though it was hard, I didn't really complain because I knew the reason for that. I knew that we didn't have funds so that we can hire another teacher. So then I just did what I had to do. I loved it. And by the grace of God, there wasn't a day that I said I didn't want to go to school. I always wanted to go to school. So I give God the praise for that. So it was a humbling experience and a rewarding one also.
Certainly it was, and I'm sure that there are many persons out there who will agree with you. Sister Lois, I know you're retired, yes, but we are on the verge of constructing our new primary school, which has been long forthcoming. And I'm sure you, even while principal, you had certain visions of this school. We just have about 2 minutes. Can you just briefly just share with us what you envision this school moving forward from here on?
Well, I envision the continuation of our primary school. I envision that our school system would continue until Jesus comes, because there are boys and girls who still want to hear the gospel, who want to be saved. Education and redemption are one. So I envision our school going on. I also look forward for a state-of-the-art school building where children can have their library, you know, they can have their individual classrooms and so forth. I look forward to that. I also look forward to, as we have our school building, we have an increase in enrollment. All right, I'm looking forward to that. You know, God has been very good to us. What we had, it wasn't of the best, but God was good to us. We did what we had to do with what we had, and God blessed our efforts. And we were on par with those schools who even had their, you know, school building and so forth. But I believe the time has come for us to move on. Time has come for us to improve, and God has helped us. We have a piece of land, and by God's grace, as we work together, hands and heart, everybody, we work together, I am sure that we are going to see a school building. I hope that I'm alive to see the complete structure, but God has been good and God will continue to help us. So if each one, as I say, if each of us, we do our part with our prayers and our contributions, our physical contributions, our monetary contributions, then I'm sure that we are going to have a school building. And who knows, when we all get to heaven, some poor child would come and say, it was as a result of Christian education why I'm here today. So I envision that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sister Lois, for your time with us this evening. And I'm sure that there are hundreds, thousands of persons out there who also share that vision with you. And by the grace of God, very soon, we shall see our new state-of-the-art Richland Park Estate Primary School. Thank you very much. God bless you and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.
How are we progressing with this school? What's going on? There might be questions. We have an update for you. We have a gentleman here, Mr. Fillmore Isaacs, who's a part of the planning committee for that building, and we would like to invite him at this time to share with us.
Thank you very much, Raymond, and brothers and sisters. As you have heard from the various speakers, 76 years ago, I would want to say your forefathers, our forefathers, though unschooled, put it in inverted commas, had a clear vision of what they wanted for their children and the Richland Park community. and they pioneered Adventist education. Today, their offspring, and you referred to them, far and near, accomplished in their professions, and having made worthy contributions to the development of mankind in all various fields, are yet again, those offsprings are yet again at the forefront of upgrading the school. I do not wish to reiterate the reason for this. The current housing of the school in the basement of the church is restrictive in more than one sense. The space and the ability to offer a quality education is hampered by that space, the way the school is currently, the environment. And so the SVG mission commissioned a multidisciplinary steering committee to spearhead the project to upgrade the school. Chet Thompson, a past student of the school, himself an accomplished educator, is leading that committee. And I was given the privilege, I must say, a grand privilege, to be part of that committee. I believe because of my association with Mountain View, and also my association with a number of the persons who have gone to both schools. And I must say, I feel not because I have not been a part of the Richland Park community, I feel part of the family. Deep inside, I feel part of the family. So I feel it a privilege. Now, to cut it short, what have we done? What has the committee done so far? Number one, we produced a project document. So there's a document to guide the process, because sometimes you could just talk and nothing happens, but there is a project document to guide the process. Number two, we prepared a constitution for the school. The reason for that being, for the number of years, for the 76 years or so, the Richland Park Seventh-day Adventist Church shouldered the burden, the financial burden and otherwise, of the school. Other churches or other communities like Bayaboo and Greg's and Evesham have had children attending the school. And we recognize that if we are going to put the school on a modern, financial, sustainable footing, we need to expand the base. And it was agreed that it would be good to have, instead of a Richland Park SDA primary school, a constituency primary school. So a constitution was drawn up and it was duly adopted. It has not yet come into play, but it is there. And the school we have suggested, in fact, it has been accepted, would be called the Adventist Pioneers Primary School. You would readily understand why we opted for that. We do not want the memory of the Bacchuses, the Thomases, the kids, the Lewises, and all the other persons who I refer to as unschooled, but who pioneered to be forgotten. So every time the name is called, the memory will be jolted that these persons pioneered education. We owe it to them. So a constitution has been prepared and accepted for the operation of the school. That's the second thing. The third accomplishment so far, that we have now architectural drawings for the construction of the new school plan. This was done by one Seventh-day Adventist, an outstanding engineer, Brother Stewart, Glenn Stewart. We do not have the final drawings because as he presented the preliminary, some comments were made and he had to make adjustments and to prepare now the detailed drawings. But the preliminaries have been accepted already. The fourth accomplishment is that the land on which the new school building would be sited has been secured. By secure, I do not mean we have seen it. No. With your donations and the donations of a number of other persons from the churches that I would have mentioned, Greg's and Evesham and Living Streams, Richland Park leading again the way. We have paid for the land. So the land is now in the title, or now carries the title of the school. Well, you know, well, the mission would have that. So that is the fourth accomplishment. Where are we now? We are at the second phase of the fundraising. The first phase was for the purchase of the land. And that was accomplished. So we could tick that off. And this is why we need to understand our accomplishments. And if we have accomplished that, then there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to accomplish the rest. God has already shown us the way, and we're stepping forward with faith. So the fundraising to solicit the necessary funds to have the school erected, that is where we are. The committee discussed and allocated certain sums for various churches and other persons, how we would raise the funds. We were really going along very well, but the COVID came in, the eruption of the volcano came and put, so to speak, a damper. But we know that these are just challenges to be overcome. And we are not going to allow these side issues to dull our focus. We have a focus, we have a time frame, and we know, as many of you would have referred, particularly well in your presentation, and judging again, hearing from Brother Campbell and his wife, the God in whom we trust has infinite resources. What would prevent us is our faith. If we've got the faith and confidence in him, and that we know it's not us going to do it, I believe we can accomplish this. So I'm happy to be able to share with you, and we're on a journey, step by step. Maybe some steps might be short than others, but we are moving towards our goal. A school building, we already have the school, we have the children, and the numbers are growing, we can't take them in. But a school building that will offer our children sufficient space to grow, both in the intellect and other areas of their lives. and to accomplish what you and I have been referring to, a preparation for this life and for the life to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Isaacs.
This is Pastor Augustus. I'm
Go
a
right ahead.
pastor of the school as well. Elder Isaac, good evening.
Good
I've
evening.
listened carefully and attentively. I must congratulate the members, the brethren, and the Richland Park community, or the Maricopa community, for moving in this direction to upgrade the facility by building a brand new school. And for that, I say congratulations.
But this is the information that we are sharing. This is our group is sharing this information around. And we are encouraging folks across the US, Canada, North America, England, to give money directly. So you can do a direct transfer. Because what we've done is we do projects, for example, the St. Vincent volcanic eruption, my project, you just give to the church as usual. So anybody can give to a local church and mark it as a gift for a certain project somewhere. And so if you talk with your local church and they're willing to let you make that donation through them, they will forward that money to its right location. So if you said you want to give a donation to the St. Vincent Mission for the building of Richland Park Primary, and you give it to a church in Pennsylvania, that church will do an online transfer to the Caribbean Union, the union to the local mission, and the mission will receive that money. But you will get your benefit in Pennsylvania, and the money will go directly to where you want it to go. So approach your local church, especially if you have a reasonably good donation to make and you want that tax deduction. Approach your local church. Ask them if they will be willing to, if you make a donation through the church, they would be willing to forward it to another location in the Caribbean. More than likely, that will be a yes, because it's all done electronically. It's not a write a check, paperwork. It's all electronic stuff. It's more than likely a yes. You contribute to your local church. They give you your deduction documents at the end of the year, and you will forward that money through the conference lines all the way to the mission in St. Vincent. And that's a very good option. So consult with your local churches on that. If you'd like to give a short tribute to any of the principles we mentioned tonight, you can unmute yourself at this time and do that.
Okay, pleasant good evening to everyone. My name is Samuel Lynch from Richland Park, St. Vincent, presently a teacher at the Richland Park Seventh Adventist Primary School. I grew up with the Kidd family. So Raymond is, my unofficially adopted brother. And at this time, I would like to pay a tribute to Sister Ermin Lewis. She was my first teacher at the Richland Park SDA Primary School. She taught the infant class when I was there. And she would have significantly had a great impact on my life as a little child back then. I can vividly remember standing at her desk and her teaching me to read. And, her efforts back then really contributed to that foundation that I would have built on and achieve what I would have achieved in life today. She was not only my teacher, but she was an aunt. Back then, as little children, you were taught to respect the elders in the community. And therefore you would say Uncle Owen and Auntie Ermin, and I also remember vividly as a child when Uncle Alfonso Lewis had to leave the state on business trips and so on. I was the one who usually was called upon to keep her company at nights, because all the children were grown and would have left and so on. And I remember all the cookies and chocolate milk, and so she used to give me at nights and make sure that I'm okay before I'm set off to bed. So a lot of memories there with Aunt Ermin, not only at school, but as I would have said, accompanying her at nights when Uncle Alfonso was out. So good to know that you're still around. God bless you. May he continue to give you good health, and may you continue to be faithful to him. So thank you for all that you would have done for me personally and all the children that you would have taught.
Thank you, Sam. See, the problem is we get these guys educated and they start using words like auntie. It was tanty. Come on, it was tanty all the time. Tanty Ermin.
Certainly, Tanti Omi.
Tanti, yes. Auntie is after you've gone to college. All right. Anyone else? Yes.
If you're hearing me, just one more comment.
Okay.
I heard about the Campbells. Those of us who have done the little history in the education of the journey of the education of Richland Park, we heard of the Campbells, and I was so pleased to see the pioneer, Sister Campbell, this evening, and her children, or her son, pardon me, and in-law, and to see some of the products who passed through her hand. I've never met Clifford before. I heard of Brother Clifford Sutherland. I heard of Brother Al. I can faintly remember Al. I think that's Alban we're talking about, correct?
Yes.
Well, I can't remember well, but I know his brother who taught me in school. And so seeing the founder, the pioneer, and then the products, and Dr. Lionel Williams, and seeing the product who came through her hands, I believe she can say like Abraham now, Lord, let your servant depart in peace. I want to say to her that we really appreciate what she has done, she and her husband, and the legacy still lives on. And to Sister Rubina Lewis, of course, you know, we were all there, and we're so happy for the significant contribution of 24 years that she has contributed to Richland Park St. Adventist Primary School. And just like Sam, again, I cannot overemphasize the impact that Auntie Ormin, well, let me begin first, Tanti Ormin, and now Auntie Ormin, what she has made on my life and the lives of my siblings.
Yes.
That's what I want to say here.
Thank you. We have run our course here, and we do not want to labor on too long. But I just want to say to the note in the chat, if your co-workers, people who are not connected to the Adventist Church, if they would like to make contributions, you can encourage them to write the check to your church. You just need to talk to your local church and let them know that this donation is coming, and let them put in the memo where you want it to go. So when you put that information in the memo, that's where it has to go. It just cannot go anywhere. So when you make that donation, responding to the comment in the chat, you put in a memo where you want the money to go. And then you can follow up with your local treasury and let them know the money's coming and where you would like it to, and guarantee that it's going in the right place. All right. So I think we've done well today. We like to thank all of the participants, those who give tributes, reflections. And you, like Edson mentioned, you don't know, it's very good to sit here and listen to some of these stories. I've heard some of these stories, Edson. I've met some people here. I knew their names and relatives, but I've never met them. And coming on this Zoom has been an eye-opener for me. And it's good to, well, not reconnect, but to connect to some of the people who already passed the journey before we did, passed through that journey at Richland Park, through the elementary, through the high school and the church programs there, and set us free into the world. And here we are. And we're looking back and trying to bring others who are following the same path, coming along the same journey. And we want them to have that experience that we had in the education system. And so we are here to support and provide support in any way we can, whether it's financial or whether you plan fundraisers, whether you plan programs to promote the school. We encourage you in your own little circle, wherever you are, to reach out and do something with the school in mind. Again, if many of us are doing something and it's small, it will add up. But we are always open to taking the big donations. So feel free to make the call, get onto the bank account, connect to your local church, make that gift, and let's get the project going and get it done. Maybe Mr. Isaacs before the 5 years or the 3 initial years, let's get it done. It's been an outstanding project in Richland Park. And for those of us here, we are selfish. We're excited that the school, its origin started in Richland Park and it's going to be rebuilt in Richland Park. We're really excited about that. It says a lot about the history and the commitment of the church, but we've broadened the arms of the church and the reach, and the school, the students who attend that school come from across the country. So it's inclusive of everyone. And so we want to make sure the children who are coming along now have that opportunity and a better chance even than we did to prepare themselves for service. So we thank you all for being on this program this evening. I look forward to our next program. We have a program coming up in the end of September. That one will be honoring our elders. We do two programs. We're overlapping in this group. We're doing planning, honoring our elders, and we are also doing fundraising for the school. So the next program we're doing is honoring elders that are related, connected somehow to Richland Park SDA community. And that will be coming up late September. October, there will be another honoring the elders. Come December, there will be a Christmas program. If you want to reconnect with lost family, friends, and whoever you want to, you could come on here and do an item of music, or you can just sit back and be entertained with whatever has been presented. But we ask you to share the link. Share the link. Stay connected. This whole idea came about because somebody said, we wish families were more connected than we are today. We are scattered around the world, not only as direct, like blood relatives, but we're scattered around the world as a community of family members from the Richland Park community, from the Richland Park Church, from the Richland Park schools. And we're scattered around the world, and we want to reconnect and bring our friends and family back together. So this is part of the driving force behind this group. So we ask you to stay in contact. Look at our sites. One of them is in the link right now. Look up our sites. And when you see the information, tell your friends, share, and let's get on and reconnect and support this project. Well, thank you so much for being here. We're going to close out. So I'm going to invite you to let's have a closing prayer. And that will be the official ending of the program. And then those of us who have to leave will leave. If you want to stick around and say hello and chat a little bit, you can do that. So let's have a word of prayer before we leave. Great God, we thank you for your blessings. We appreciate how you've blessed us immensely, how you're gracious to us in spite of our shortcomings. And we appreciate you for your unconditional love in our lives. We pray this evening that you will bless each person on this Zoom meeting, every family represented, that will bless this project in a special way, this building of the school, that you will bless and guide and direct in the planning and execution of the school, and its goals and its objectives will be met, that young boys and girls will know you and they will have and build a lasting relationship with you. We thank you so much for your goodness and your kindness. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.